Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 138. What a week! Tesla held their AI Day number 2 and showed off their Optimus robot. And Tesla makes some big end of the quarter push. And more affordable EVs coming from China. And Tesla's demand is big, no matter where we look. And Tesla and Elon Musk is under attack by filmmakers. And the Tesla semi-truck is just around the corner, and we have some cool new software updates coming for your Tesla. And the Berlin factory is on fire. All this and much more on today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Let's start by talking a little bit about Tesla's AI Day, because there are so much to unpack. We need some more standalone videos for that. But let me give you some highlights about the robot. I was very surprised to see the robot walking on stage and do it so well and fluid as it did. I did not expect them to be this far ahead. But then they showed that this robot was just built with off-the-shelf part, but they already had a new version of the robot ready that was built with Tesla's own part and their own fluctuators. And Elon hopes to get the price down of the robot in the future to only $20,000. But once again, Tesla is just taking the first principle approach and are making a general solution. They are making a true humanoid-like robot that can use the tool we use, unlike what we saw with Xiaomi robot that was not built with humans' hands and so on. Very different kind of robot. Tesla is already doing a better job making a robot, and Tesla has taken the same approach as they did with the 4680 battery cell, thinking production into the whole thing. It needs to be able to be produced in high volume at low cost. This is a very different approach than from pretty much what everything else is doing. And Tesla had their full self-driving software and learning platform they could pretty much just transfer to the robot. So I do expect this robot to learn very fast. So very exciting. And Elon's guess was that we could expect to be able to buy one in 3 to 5 years. That is nuts if that is going to be true. So we could see a useful robot from Tesla this decade. But I am more optimistic about that after AI Day 2, as we have just seen what Tesla has been able to do in just a year. Firstly, they had to build the whole robot team, right? Then build the robot and the software and teaching it about the surrounding and all that. And in 6 to 18 months, they have made a working prototype. That is insane. Many people would not get this and able to project that out in the future. They simply don't have the imagination. But Tesla already has this prototype, something that many people thought was impossible. Not many people believed Elon when he said last year they could have a prototype ready in 2022. People laughed at him. But here we are with a working prototype of a robot from Tesla. This is just nuts. I will not dive deep into all the other great stuff here in the news show, but stay tuned for a lot more videos about AI Day coming soon. And thanks to everyone that tuned in and watched it live with me on my channel. Thank you so much. The end of the third quarter is here, and Tesla's factory has been at full throttle. This includes the Fremont factory, which is filled with vehicles that are ready to be delivered to customers. Recent flyovers shows the logistic area almost full. And we do also see Tesla's delivery centers filling up as well. As Megan, one of my followers, shared with me that their Tesla center at Glendale, Arizona was filled with Teslas ready to be delivered. So we are definitely seeing a huge end of the quarter push from Tesla. So it will be exciting to see what level they are at by the end of this quarter. Troy Tesla estimates it's 366,000 and Street's estimates is 358,000. So not a big difference. But Gary Black also showed the top 10 list of the US luxury car brands, and one of them stood out. Tesla is not only up by as much as 55% year to date, but everyone else is down on an average of 20%. But I thought the competition was coming for Tesla. And as every quarter, we had a leaked email from Tesla that said we will be delivering a very high volume of vehicles to eager waiting customers during the final days of Q3. Surprise, surprise. And the ramp in China should be looking good for the quarter as well, as Moneyball on Twitter also shared the sales numbers from the 19th to 25th of September. That was 23,109 units. This is of course not production numbers, but just nice to see Tesla deliver more than 23,000 units in a week. So it looks like a big of the end of the quarter push in China as well. So I think Troy Teslac is going to be very close to the Q3 numbers, as he always is, but that also gets me very excited about Q4 numbers and over the numbers for all of 2022, because we know the Fremont factory has already hit 12,000 units per week and is aiming for 14,000 units by the end of the year. And we know the Shanghai factory is sitting at about 22,000 units per week, maybe even as high as 23,000 units. And there was some internal leaked documents seen by Reuters that suggest that Tesla's internal target for Q4 is 495,000 units of their Model 3 and Y only. That sounds very high, but if we take the high numbers with the 14,000 from the Fremont factory and 23,000 from the Shanghai factory, we are getting very close to those targets from those two factories alone, so it definitely is not impossible. But let's stick with the lower numbers here and say 12,000 plus 22,000, that is 34,000 units per week from just those two factories. That is 4,857 units per day. And with 92 days in the last quarter of the year, we could end up with 446,857 units just from those two factories if nothing goes wrong, but also if they don't ramp up even further. And I have already made a video about the Berlin factory and the ramp we could expect here for the last part of the year, but we could see something like 40,000 units for that factory alone in Q4, if they will be able to get to the 5,000 units per week by the last week of this year, as Elon has been saying they're aiming for. The Texas factory is lagging a bit behind the Berlin factory, so maybe we can say 30,000 units from that factory in the last quarter. But that will still be 70,000 units from those two factories. So that's a combined production of 515,000 units for Q4 if no force majeure happens in Q4, so that would leave the year with about 1.43 million units, so about 52% growth from 2021. Even if they fall short of the 515,000 units in Q4, even 480,000 units will still be enough to get Tesla above the 1.4 million units and 50% growth. So that would be my guess as of now, that the year will end off with about 50 to 52% growth from 2021, with just about 1.4 million in units sold. I do think that the shutdown Tesla did in July of the Shanghai factory is very underappreciated, and the impact it will have. Before the shutdown of the factory, it was able to push out a maximum of 2,600 vehicles per day, and now they are about 3,200 vehicles per day being produced. That is about 600 cars extra per day. So in a year, that would be 219,000 extra vehicles. So about the same amount that BMW is hoping to produce in 2022. Tesla has just increased their Shanghai factory production with. And with the average price of $55,000 per car, that is another $12 billion in revenue over the next 12 months, just from the extra capacity that 3-week shutdown have made. And they have more than 25% margin on those China-made Teslas. So that is a $3 billion in profits right there. Man, what a ramp Tesla is doing here. It is so impressive and makes all the legacy automakers look like amateurs, as they are struggling to ramp up EV production. I reported last week on the MG4 that was coming for Europe from China, but we have some more pretty affordable EVs coming our way. Dongfeng Motors' premium electric vehicle arm, Voya, has started sending its first batch of vehicles to Norway after opening its first offline store there in June, and it plans to enter more countries including Sweden, Netherlands, Denmark starting in 2023. Voya announced on Monday that the first 500 Voyager-free SUVs that will be sent to Norway have started departure from Wuhan, where the company is headquartered. And I can see on eu-evs.com that 10 Voyager-free has already been delivered. But we have more coming for Europe, just as the Shenglong SL03, what a name, is coming for Europe as well, that in China only cost about $26,000. So it's going to be very exciting what the price will be here in Europe, as that is one of the big copycats of Tesla's design, but it does come with decent range and a 10-year warranty of 300,000 kilometers. It is a car from China's state-owned car company Changuang, and they want to produce about 15,000 units per month next year. And Changuang is a big player in China. They are actually the one building all of Ford's cars that are driving around in China, so they know how to make cars, as they have been doing that for more than 160 years. And now they will also be part of a more affordable wave of EVs coming for Europe next year. But also a very good showcase of how stupid the hydrogen car is, because Changuang is by all means an old legacy automaker, and therefore this car does of course come in many versions, and one is hydrogen that cost about $105,000. So only about 4 times as much than the electric version. I mean, who in the world would be stupid enough to buy that hydrogen car? Yes, the technology is just too expensive, as Mercedes also found out, and why they stopped developing of the hydrogen car. But we are not done yet, because we have more EVs coming for the European market from China. BYD has announced a pre-sale price of the Atto 3, the Han and the Tang in Europe, where they will start deliveries this year, starting in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg and Germany, and by the end of the year, France and the UK will also receive BYDs. Wow, they're going all in, hitting all the big markets in Europe and of course Scandinavia, where we are all in right now. And the Han is BYD's flagship car and will cost about 72,000 euros, so not a cheap one, but the one that will compete with the Tesla Model 3. But the BYD's Atto 3 has a pre-sale price of 38,000 euros, about $36,000, and it has close to the same specs of the ID3 or the MG4 we were talking about last week, but can only charge with about 88 kilowatts. But it is a big car, it is a SUV with a big trunk of 440 liters, so it should be close to the same price of the MG4, but the MG4 seems to offer a little bit more in terms of specs, but both of them should be cheaper than the ID3, and in direct competition with that car, as I talked about in last week's news show. So yet another handful of EVs coming from China at a reasonable price with decent specs, undercutting the legacy automakers on price. But I did actually also see another competitor up close, the Vietnamese EV from VinFast at the Fully Charged live show, the EF8. And I must say, that just seems like a very nicely built, decent electric car with a big screen, a big trunk, a good range and charging speed. So another startup company that is coming for the European market with a decent EV for a decent price. It has 471 kilometers of WLTP range, or 292 miles. It's all-wheel drive and do a 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds and can charge with up to 200 kilowatts. Have a 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating, and it will come with 10-year warranty or 200,000 kilometers. So that is all very impressive. So it beats all the Chinese competitions on specs we have just talked about, with a starting price of only $42,000. That is not a bad deal. They do the weird thing where VinFast owns the battery in the car, so of course that will make sure that you don't have to worry about it, as it belongs to VinFast. So if something goes wrong with the battery, they will take care of it. But we have to wait and see how this kind of deal will play out in the long run. But yet another EV for the European and the US market that can match the legacy automakers on pretty much all specs, but cheaper. And it felt really nicely built. It didn't feel like a crappy cheap Asian car. Nothing really to put your finger on here. Very well done. So yes, the Chinese and the other startups are coming. We are seeing the first wave this year and many more waves to follow in 2023. And Tesla is having demand problem. We have heard about this from the Tesla queue for longer than Elon has been saying full self-driving will be solved this year. But the demand is off the chart in every aspect of their business. Tesla's demand is off the charts not only for Tesla to sell to customer, but also the demand to rent one at Hertz is very, very solid, as the CEO told CNBC.
Demand has been very, very solid. And remember, we're seeing demand not just among leisure travelers, but also among corporate travelers, where in fact corporations want their employees in an electric vehicle to satisfy some of their own carbon footprint objectives. And then, of course, we've been renting to Uber and Lyft as part of the ride-sharing network. So demand across all three has been very strong. You were obviously fortunate at a moment in the market when, in fact, pricing was indifferent as between the two. But now, given demand, we are getting premium pricing on electric vehicles. And I'd also point out from a financial point of view for Hertz, the maintenance is appreciably lower on the electric vehicles. We're seeing it 40 to 50% lower, just given the nature of the car itself. But demand is there, very strong and across all. I would point out, because you highlighted a point that people raise quite often, which is about the anxiety of charging. And obviously our announcement with BP today, which will broaden out our network, will diffuse some of that anxiety. But what's interesting is that almost 50% of rentals at Hertz are driven a distance where the car would not need a single charge. And so I think the anxiety is understood, but it's early, it will dissipate. And what we're doing with BP will further help that effort.
And good to see Hertz showing that they as a rental company is saving up to 50% on maintenance. Yes, electric vehicles are not as expensive as most people think. And also nice to see them partnering up with BP to make charging station for Hertz customers. Something the old legacy automaker should have done many years ago, but gets beaten to market by a rental car company. Embarrassing. But nice to see BP stepping up their game in the EV charging game. But again, it really shows how big and powerful Tesla has become in this space. BP Pulse is expecting its global network of high-speed chargers for cars, light commercial vehicle and trucks with a global target of more than 100,000 chargers by 2030, with about 90% of those rapid or ultra-fast chargers. This is a big nice target compared to Electrify America's 10,000 units in 2025 or Ionity's 7,000 units in 2025. But again, Tesla will hit 100,000 superchargers by late 2024 or early 2025. The big oil company that have hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue every year cannot keep up with Tesla to become the biggest energy provider in the post-fossil fuel world, as I just made a whole video about Tesla's charging network, but yet another example of Tesla's dominance in this field as well. So as Hertz saying, demand for Tesla is high, but not only in the rental business and the new car sales business, but also in the used car market. As I reported on last week, the Model 3 became the used car of the year in Denmark, but Tesla's used car sales is also a huge business for Tesla. Demand for EVs has skyrocketed in the US, and it's primarily thanks to Tesla. Many prospective EV owners have likely considered a Tesla, but prices are high and wait time are long. This is why many folks is taken to the pre-owned market to find a Tesla they can afford and take delivery immediately. In fact, a Tesla executive claimed that the brand's used car division is much bigger than many people may realize. According to Jim Douglas, Tesla's director of sales and delivery operations, the company used car business actually parallels some public traded used car retailers. He didn't mention which retailers, but it seems he's probably making a reference to companies like Carvana, CarMax and Driveway. He said, According to Electric, most people don't realize that Tesla runs its own virtually integrated nationwide online used car retailer. It is as big as some public traded used car retailers you definitely heard of, despite no Super Bowl commercial or wanky waving inflated arms failing tube men. Douglas noted that the used car team is distributed across the North America, ensuring every used Tesla meets our quality standard so we can delight every customer at the point of delivery. Since Tesla does not advertise, delighted used car customers are our version of a Super Bowl commercial. And free, I might add. And let's get our monthly update about Tesla's Giga factories. That means handing it over to Brian from My Tesla Weekend. Take it away, Brian.
Hey Lars. Well, in Shanghai, part of the loading and logistics lot has been torn up and replaced with grass. That's an interesting choice. The utility building in the northwest corner we've been following looks done. Probably won't have to talk about that anymore. There is a new little extension to the building along the south central corridor. Not sure what it's for. Doesn't really matter, but it's there. Over in Berlin, there's a lot more work. The piling in the north, the concrete is going in. It's, I'd like to say getting close to done, but we might have another month or two before they start building on this. In the parking at the south end, there's chargers. And the south parking area is doubling in size. It's extending to the east. The road is being widened. Just south of the Motorworks building, there is a structure going up. We've seen the concrete pad go in, and now we've got a structure. The retention ponds are shaping up nicely. And in the northeast, there's new grading, both here and also over here. These areas are going to be, who knows, parking, loading, logistics, more sprung structures. The point is that the factory is expanding constantly. In Texas, the south parking lot is being torn up a bit. Why is that, you ask? Well, apparently they might be building something here. That'd be exciting. The paint on the building has kind of begun. These may just be more test areas, but we'll see. The southwest loading area is done-ish. It's certainly in use. The parking lot is a lot fuller than we've seen it. Now, these two videos are comparing a Sunday versus a weekday, which isn't quite fair. But there are more cars, employee cars in the lot, than usual. The loading lot is in use. It used to be to the south of the building. Now it's primarily over here on the far east side. The warehouse on wheels area has expanded. This is where they store all kinds of goods that are being about to be used in the factory. And there's grading north of the cathode building, where they've removed a pond. And the cathode building itself has a ton of walls, a ton of floors, and a lot of interior work. And yeah, because I've got my computer back now, I will be counting this in a couple days. There's new grading beside the cathode building, just to the west, and the substation has its foundations going in. So that's going to be exciting. That should move. By next time, next update, there should be a lot to see. The solar expansion on the roof is going great. They've switched brands. They ran out of solar panels from the one brand. You can see a slight color difference. Won't be too noticeable over time. And there's more in weight, ready to be installed in pallets, both here and over here. So we'll see you next month. Back to you, Lars.
Thank you so much for that update, Brian. Don't forget, if you want to learn more, head over to Brian's channel, link down below. And Brian, see you next month. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. The Cybertruck will be able to do a little sailing. As Elon tweeted, Cybertruck will be waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat, so it can cross rivers, lakes, and even seas that aren't too choppy. Need to be able to get from Starbase to South Padre Island, which requires crossing the channel. What? I mean, this is not a little river, this is a big-ass channel. They will be practically sailing to be able to cross that channel. I guess the rumors about the Cybertruck being used as a boat was not far off. This Cybertruck will be alien technology. Several Chinese government departments confirmed that the purchase tax exception for new energy vehicles, which is set to expire by the end of this year, will be extended to the end of 2023. Yep, still pushing hard for EVs. Porsche's IPO is now complete and values the company at $72 billion. The Volkswagen Group raised 19.5 billion euros via the listing to fund the group's electrification drive. Of the 19.5 billion euros raised, around $9.1 billion will be going to Volkswagen, just under a fifth of the 52 billion euros budget needed for the electrification plan. Tesla has begun producing the next round of Model Ys to be delivered to Australia, with order holders reporting process over the weeks of the rear-wheel drive orders. Many have been told that their orders are being brought forward after being advised of a build date on Friday the 23rd of September 2022 on their orders. The update on estimated delivery dates for these lucky customers range from mid-October to early November. Originally, those customers had been advised of an estimated delivery date range from November 2022 to February 2023. So all these deliveries will now be in 2022. And Sawyer shared on Twitter a picture of the Texas factory seen from a satellite picture, and you can actually now start seeing the spilling of the Tesla roof. Volkswagen said short-haul plane flights could be under threat from driverless autonomous vehicles fully equipped with beds and offices if Volkswagen is on the right path. Volkswagen said it gives a realistic outlook for the mobility of the coming decade and could provide a sustainable mobility-as-a-service alternative to short-haul flights in an official statement announcing the Gen Travel. I know I'm very bullish on Tesla's full self-driving, but that is because they have the fleet, the AI team, and the data to pull this one off. Volkswagen has shown us nothing but trouble just making a car operating system. So my conviction in Volkswagen's ability to pull this one off is very low, and not in this decade for sure. Tesla and Elon Musk is under attack by filmmaker who pays influencers to speak negatively about Tesla. This just proves the negative news is being artificially created and paid for, which the Tesla community has speculated to happen for more than a decade. Disgusting. Starlink ramp is accelerating and it's getting undeniable. Just around 19 months since opening pre-orders for the satellite internet system, SpaceX has produced 1 million Starlink terminals, and Elon Musk announced that he was activating Starlink in response to the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken's tweet announcing the issuing of a general license to provide the Iranian people with access to digital communication. This will enable the Iranian people to become connected despite the government's attempt to suppress them. Elon is just helping so many people around the world. The power of this technology that SpaceX has made is just amazing. And Tesla welcomes Joe Gebbia as new independent director to its board. Joe is the co-founder of Airbnb, so another big brain Tesla is adding to their board. Very nice. And several Tesla semi-truck has been spotted being shipped around the country ahead of a long-awaited start of delivery, so we should be getting really close now. This is going to be such a game-changing product. I don't think many people really understand. And in the upcoming software update to your Tesla, you will get some cool new features about the supercharging map. In addition to the supercharging map showing the distance to the site and how many stalls are available and if some is out of order, Tesla has added historical site occupancy and the charging fees. That's very cool. Another update coming is about Tesla's energy graph. Tesla has made tremendous improvement around the energy prediction in the last few updates, and although they didn't change the user interface of the energy graph, it has resulted in much more accurate prediction that now takes wind, humidity, the number of occupants, phone charging, and more into account when predicting energy usage. With the 22.39, Tesla delivered a brand new energy graph app that shows much more details on how the vehicle is using its energy. Very nice. Chuck Cook shared a picture of his Tesla, reminding him about a storm coming tomorrow that could affect access to the charging stations and therefore should charge to 100% today to reduce the impact from the storm on your travel plans. A good showcase of the power of great software and all the services Tesla can provide. And Clean Technica shared a list of the most efficient electric cars in the world in 2022 with this year's models. And they took the EPA's mile per gallon equivalent, and there were actually 17 models that had more than 100 mile per gallon equivalent, so that was very cool. A lot of great efficient EVs to choose from. But topping the list was, of course, Tesla's Model 3 with 132 miles per gallon equivalent. And Homar's catalog showed off a drive through San Francisco on full self-driving beta 69.2.2, and it is just so impressive what it is able to do. The improvements are scary good, and Elon replied to Homar's that big improvement in high speed cross-traffic velocity neural network coming next month. Yeah, the pace of improvements are not slowing down. And Elon did tweet a picture of a bottle with burned hair. Maybe he's hinting at Q3 earnings that the short sellers are about to get burned. And Tesla had a recall of over 1 million cars. What? Well, it was of course all fixed with an over-the-air update. Tesla found that the windows were closing too fast, so they just changed that, and 1 million recalls were fixed in no time at all. But this little chart also shows us just how many recalls Tesla is actually fixing just with an over-the-air update compared to the competition that we hear some can also do over-the-air update. Yes, but never when it really matters. And there was a fire at the Berlin factory. No, it was not the factory itself, even though many haters were quick to say, see, battery cars are dangerous. Because many mainstream media's headlines were like, Tesla's Gigafactory Berlin in Grünheide on fire. But it was not. But the fire does seem a little suspicious, as the fire suddenly broke out in the middle of the cold night in Grünheide in some card boxes that was ready to go to recycling. And the next morning, Stefan Scotch, a representative of the Citizens Initiative that has been criticizing Tesla from the beginning, was quick to come out and say, our worst fear has come true. We demand a production stop until the causes and circumstances has been clarified and all safety relevant measures in the water protection area have been implemented. What? Your worst fear? Some cardboards burned? I guess you really like cardboard, so I don't get it. This statement from these organizations is so ridiculous that it's hard to take them seriously. So I won't. There has been a fire in some cardboards. No damage. Everything goes on as usual. Nothing to see here. They would all scream, shut down the factory, if they spilled a glass of milk. And Elon tweeted, last coal shipment arrived in Hawaii at the same time as Tesla Megapack battery that will enable 24/7 sustainable energy. Yes, in 2020, Hawaii's legislators passed a law banning the use of coal for energy production at the start of 2023, so no more dirty coal being burned in Hawaii starting next year. Hawaii has mandated a transition to 100% renewable energy by 2045, and Tesla's batteries are helping to reach that goal. And Alex shared this picture on Twitter where you can see who used the most renewable energy. And hey, what do you know? My country, Denmark, is leading the way in solar and wind adoption. We had 51.9% of our electricity coming from renewables. So every EV on the road in Denmark is already driving on electricity that is made with more clean energy than from fossil fuel. So that's very cool. And I even get my electricity from someone called Vinsted, who gets 100% of their energy from wind turbines. So I already drive on 100% renewable energy today, even though I have yet not got my solar roof and batteries for my house. I hope to get them when Tesla gets to Denmark with the Powerwall. And as Alex wrote, solar and wind energy generation covered in 2021 a tenth of the global energy generation. To compare, in Germany alone, the first 6 months of the year has been at 49%. Now that is awesome, as Germany is a very big country here in Europe with 83 million citizens, and the more renewables they can get, the less dependent they and all of the rest of us is on Russia. So heading in the right direction and a win-win-win for us all. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my newest patrons and members of this new show. My new patrons, Roy Morgan and Michael Morgan, now we're just missing Captain Morgan, and James Toomey and Emmanuel. And my new thank you for watching member Kilo Maria Granda. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And a big and special thanks to Supporter of the Week, and this week's winner is Adam A. Adam has been supporting the channel for almost 9 months now. Thank you so much for all your support, Adam. I can't do this without you guys. Thank you. Please email me on this email down below so I can get your address so I can send you your free t-shirt or mug of your choice. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. Hey, whoever owns that blue Ford in the middle, your hood is up. And that is all we have time for in this new show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can for as little as $1 become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to a donation options in the show notes. And also as simple as hitting the super like button. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.